Hello and welcome back to another bananas episode of Shut Up and Enjoy. We are here together once again, myself, Chris Riley, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, however we want to call it, God of Asgard, with my incredible co-host, Mr. Dante Howard. My caps off to you, good sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
And
Welcome in, everyone.
this week, I believe we are on the penultimate episode of Loki season 2.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Episode 5.
And I have some feelings about this one.
Got some feelings, huh?
I have some feelings. I have questions. I have props to give. I have props to give. Yeah, but let's just jump right into it and get to the overall synopsis.
All right, we'll do it. Loki, season 2, episode 5, science fiction.
Spoiler alerts, by the way. I'm saying for the first time in the beginning of an episode. We're 7 episodes into this podcast, and I finally hit spoiler alert.
Finally got it. We're done. Loki survives the explosion, but everyone else has vanished, and the TVA headquarters spaghettifies. Loki escapes as he begins time slipping again, taking him to branched timelines where his friends Mobius, Hunter B-15, Casey, and OB were reset to their original lives as Don, Dr. Willis, Frank Morris, and Dr. A.D. Doug, respectively. Wanting to time slip before the explosion, Loki enlists Doug's help. With Loki unable to control his time slipping, Doug proposes Loki gather everyone present at the explosion back together so that their collective temporal aura can send them back to the right time and place. Doug builds a tempad using a TVA guidebook that Loki kept. Loki succeeds in gathering everyone else to Doug's workshop except Sylvie, who has retained her memories. Refusing to help, Sylvie gets Loki to admit his true motivation. He wants his friends back and fears being alone. When everything in Sylvie's timeline spaghettifies, she goes to help Loki. However, Doug's workshop also spaghettifies, as do Frank, Doug, Don, Willis, and Sylvie. Loki finally controls his time slipping by focusing on a person, declaring that he can rewrite the story. Loki time slips to before the explosion by focusing on OB. And there we have it.
What a Disney happily ever after with the power of friendship.
Power of friendship and love. No one wants to be alone.
No, and I get that. But I think to a certain extent, my thoughts on that ending part of it, where it's not the when, it's not the where, it's not the why, it's the who, and that seemed a little kitschy, gimmicky to me. Like, Christ, throw more glitter and sunshine at this for me, please. I see Loki as like a half-breed Sisyphus.
Oh, it's a big word.
Well, Sisyphus is one of the Greek tragedies, I believe, and Sisyphus was a character who was always doomed to fail. And a liken to him is Darth Maul. He's every situation he's put in, he's always doomed to fail. Doesn't matter if he wins the battle, he's always doomed to the war and lose the war. And I think Loki, as a character and a god of mischief, his whole thing is to teach the hero like the moral lesson and teach them a lesson to help Thor gain something. For example, Thor 1. Loki had the whole frost giant thing, the realization, send the destroyer to conquer Earth, but yet he lost. But that helped Thor become the Thor that he needed to be to save the world and become an Avenger. So in that sense, he has a like Loki as a character has a Sisyphus complex. When you also look at all of the other variants that you've seen too, they were all they were all pruned. Kid Loki, President Loki, Croaky, Hugh Grant Loki, Sylvie Lot, like they're all lost. And so it's weird now seeing him become the hero and shed that lost complex. And I don't know if I like it as a character development because it's really rewriting the core of Loki. And it almost just seems like Disney is kind of incapable of writing a story where the main character doesn't win in the end.
Well, we still don't know if he's won. And
we don't. You're right.
Also, all of this was preordained and destined to happen, according to He Who Remains. So I think we're just getting what was ultimately destined to happen. Character development aside, and who this character is versus who that character is, and so forth.
Now it's interesting that you brought up destined to happen because at the end of season 1, we hit that point where it's I don't know what's about to happen. And you see He Who Remains hit the end of his story and not actually know what's happening. So are we now in that unwritten zone? Or are we at the point where we're now flashing back to when Wong was explaining how the infinity ingots were scattered across the Virgin universe as there was nothing, and now we're rebooting everything and we're going back to the collector's story, and we're getting that whole reset of everything, which will then lead back to it just being cyclical and a whole Ouroboros.
That is quite the query you have there, sir. And I think, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait till episode 6 to see how that all shakes and plays out. My thought is that we are somewhere in between the beginning and that end of He Who Remains. Due to all the time slipping, the going back and forth, and then we have the branch timelines, which have been getting pruned, and now some are getting spaghettified. So I think we're somewhere in the middle of that. We're somewhere in between the beginning and the end. And
we're almost in like a cached memory of the universe.
Yes.
Someone just pulled the power cable on your computer that you were writing your thesis on. Yes. But Microsoft Word has a little cached nugget of all of the changes you made on it. That cached nugget, that's where we are right now.
Yes, we're inside of there trying to figure it all out and see where it goes. So it's fun. It's interesting to have, or I guess to not know what's going to go on and to have all these theories and all these different thoughts of what could possibly be happening now and where we could possibly be going. And that's exciting for not only this series, it's exciting for Marvel itself to see where this series ends up and see where we're going here in the future.
It is, because this could potentially blow open everything.
Right.
This could shut down a lot. And I mean, who knows? Maybe in 2028 we'll see Iron Man 1.
See, didn't think about that. Just a whole brand new reboot.
Yeah. they hit their threshold, and now we're gonna see Thanos again.
Would be interesting. But who knows what's gonna happen? That makes it fun. That makes it that makes it you kind of look forward to what's going to happen here on the 9th, on Thursday. I mean, so not only do we have the season finale of the Loki, but we'll also have the Marvels that night as well. So that's a pretty big day for Marvel.
Which is also going to tie in. I wonder how much Sword is going to tie into it with Fury coming out of Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Is this before or after Secret Invasion? And how is this going to play into stuff happening? By the way, quick sidebar. For those of you who aren't as nerdy and effed up as I am in the brain, spaghettification is actually a true principle that Stephen Hawking explains about in astrophysics. It is as you enter into the gravitational pull of a black hole, as the gravity increases, you are pulled and stretched the part of your body that is closer to the black hole faster than the part of your body away from the black hole. So if you essentially like drop a pencil directly straight into a bucket of water, the point of the pencil will stretch out while the eraser is still intact. So spaghettification is actually a true principle in astrophysics. Not at all what they describe it being here in Loki, but just as a quick sidebar, if you look up spaghettification, it is an actual theory.
It is a thing. So all the content creators who are saying, "Oh, Marvel's just they found one thing and they just want to keep going with that," well, it's because it's a real thing, and that is actually what's happening. But
yeah,
we'll try not to get onto the content creators too much today.
No, that'll be next week's podcast episode.
We got shit for them next week.
Oh, we got so much shit to go through. Yeah. I thought it was interesting seeing. I wasn't expecting to see all of the like the main characters in their original timelines. Who's his face being the like true nerd of the TVA of like the Boy Scout was an escaped convict from Alcatraz.
Yes.
What?
My man Casey, who became Frank, I think is his name, Frank Morris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good to see.
Mobius would be a used car salesman selling jet skis and ATVs. Yeah, sure. Yes. Yes. That just
we can believe that.
yes.
But his two little badass sons.
Yeah, pyromaniac and
yeah,
the bribery kid. Go find him and stop him from burning the house down, and I'll buy you a puppy.
yeah.
I did like the kind of foreground background when Loki was doing all the time slipping of the wacky wavy inflatable balloon arm man.
Yeah.
Where he was time slipping, kind of doing the like the same thing. That was just funny.
That was a perfect little semblance right there. Simile.
Yeah.
Stuff. It was good to see those characters because we got kind of sort of a quick backstory without getting a full on backstory. We just Hunter B-15 was a doctor. That's all we needed to know. You know, OB was I don't even know what the hell he was, a weird science fiction author.
OB was exactly what you would expect OB to be. OB was OB.
OB was OB. So it was good to see just see the little differences. So I think that kind of it's going to bring it all together so that we'll know why they have the motivations that they have, even though the variants that we see in the TVA or that we've been seeing in the TVA, we know why they have their motivations and their actions and their personalities.
I would like to see where the timekeepers come up. I would like to see them have another emergence because they were made out to be this big bad in season one. And so I wonder if we'll see even an Easter egg of like Obi designing the animatronics in the background or something. I think that would be cool. Just to give a little bit more context as to their perceived origin, or
You
if
know,
we've now created an alternate timeline of the TVA going back and trying to bring everyone back into the TVA.
that would be interesting. That the thing that I wonder about, and we probably should have did this. We probably should have went back and reviewed those earlier episodes from season one because Miss Minutes did have a whole presentation on the timeline and the timekeepers and everything. So maybe there was some nuggets in there that we could have gleaned from that to see uh,
Yeah,
how that came to be about. Because
yeah,
there's all sorts of things. We know that there were three timekeepers, even though they were robots or whatever. But
yeah.
when we got to the Citadel at the end of time, there was four statues and one was broken. So was
Mhm.
there a fourth timekeeper, or how did that play into it?
Yes. Anyway, that's been my meme for the week in my own head. It's like, yes, very sad. Anyway, yeah. I so where right now in this grand scheme of where everyone is, where are the bad guys? Just as a review, where are the antagonists?
You said
Miss
where
Min-
are Miss
yeah,
Minutes and
Miss
Renslayer?
Minutes got rebooted.
Right. And Renslayer is, we assume, in the void because she was pruned at the last episode. So we assume she's in the void, and of course, spoiler for the trailers, we see her in the void in one of the trailers. So the question is, how does she get out? Does she go through and tame Elias again? Apparently, because that's what she did before when she was helping Kang or He Who Remains or whatever the hell we're calling him this week.
Oh,
Does she do that same thing? Is she in the void and Elias is like, "Hey, what up, homie? I remember you."
what
Or
up, girl? How you doing? It's been a minute.
how does she
Well,
end up
because
coming back?
then you wonder if she's in the void or if she kills Elias to break through to the Citadel at the end of time. Is Kid Loki going to break through as well? And now we have our young Avengers.
Great question. But we don't want to go down the Young Avengers route just yet.
Not just yet.
Not just yet. We'll
Fine.
get there.
I'm just shaking some pepper onto that steak.
Yeah.
Some S&P is the way for me.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. This episode seemed deep while also still kind of seeming a little superficial and kind of fillery.
Yep.
And I don't know which way I'm leaning because we did get all of that background information on B-15 being the doctor and Mobius being the used jet ski ATV salesman and all that stuff. But like, could it have been done in a quick flashback type of thing? We could have advanced the plot more, or how do you think how do you think the pacing of this episode went? Is what I'm trying to get at.
I thought it was fine, and I kind of get. I actually had this conversation with someone else earlier about when we talk about filler episodes, are we saying it's filling in information that we didn't previously have, or are we saying it's filler as in if you take this episode out, it doesn't It doesn't advance the plot. It doesn't advance the story. We don't need this episode. So I guess the question is, how are you defining filler?
Yeah.
And then to that end, um,
it's a context episode, not a plot episode, is what I would say.
right.
Because the only thing that was a plot point was he can now control the time slipping.
Right.
But we have the context of the other characters that we didn't have before.
Right. And we also have him actually going through the time slippage each time and meeting up with the other characters. So each time that was kind of like his development to understand, okay, there is a way for me to control this. And would we have seen that if we didn't get the other 15 or 20 minutes of him actually doing that? Because if we don't get that time and we only get a little snippet of it, or we get not enough that we don't fully understand what's happening, and then we get him at the end being able to control it, then the question will be, well, how is he just all of a sudden able to control it? That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a delicate balance that the writers and the directors have to show that this is how we're getting to this point. And then sometimes if we kind of take the episodes and we put them in a microcosm
Yeah.
of, okay, so this episode itself has to have a beginning, a middle, and end. But sometimes it doesn't click until you put it into context of
the greater season.
Right. And the full season altogether. So then we can bring it back and say, okay, yeah, no, I understand. One thing that we know from series like this is that this is a series you can't watch out of order. So everything has to mesh, everything has to combine. And sometimes
ironic that a season about time travel has to be watched in a specific order.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes we kind of, you'll get that a lot with some shows and some series where it's like, hey, what actually happened there? But maybe this, I don't know how long this episode was, 50 minutes. This 50-minute episode may be brought a little bit clearer in the first 2 minutes of the next episode. We don't know.
So does Loki now have a new superpower of time travel?
I mean, he is the god of mischief. So.
He's the god of mischief, but really, time travel?
It's happening through him, because wasn't it that he wasn't going through time was going through him or something like that? So perhaps
that was Scott Lang.
No, and then there's also still does that sound right? Also still there is still also he's been time traveling. So who's to say that he hasn't gone somewhere where he then learns how to do that? And we just haven't seen it.
So to summarize, nothing matters.
And everything matters. That's right.
Yes. This was also like based on where he found the variants of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed very eminent of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like hopping these like completely different universes, Alcatraz to a doctor's office to a used car salesman. Like it was very eminent of those universe hops of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yep. Where it was like, here's the universe where we're all on psychedelics, here's the universe where we have hot dog fingers. Like it was kind of cool to see that, how they're incorporating almost a multiverse, not multiverse theory within that. So I did like that little montage of it. But all in all, as of right now, as it stands, this was not my favorite episode of the season.
Okay.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
And I'm saying as it stands, because again, I don't have the full context of the picture. So I'm not saying this is the end of Loki, this is the crash of the MCU, and
It sucks.
John
It sucks.
Favreau's destroying everything that we've known to love for the last 15 years. And
You're blaming Favreau for this one? Not Feige?
Feige, Favreau, Filoni, all of the
All the
effing
F's.
club, all them effers.
Holy shit.
Disney and the effing gang, the House of F.
House of F.
Favreau, Filoni,
They
Feige.
all did it. It's all their fault. They suck. And the
The effing crew
VFX.
ruined Star Wars. They ruined Marvel. They ruined everything. Those damn
My
effers.
childhood.
Oh, we gotta get shut up and enjoy mugs for the effing crew.
Oh, hell yeah. 100%.
You know what? To stay topical, let's get some ball glasses.
I like it. I like the way you're thinking.
That's actually kind of funny that the three biggest executives in Disney are all F names.
Yeah. Just now thought about that today, too. That's weird.
Yeah. We've been talking about them. In Favreau, we trust. In Filoni, we trust. In Feige, we trust. Oh, shit. They're all Fs.
Yeah. So how about that?
But yeah, I mean, so all in all, as it stands right now, this was not my favorite episode. I probably liked last episode the best, where we kind of had a little mini reunion of everyone coming in all at once. And you still got some quips, but you still felt the gravity of it. And that could have almost been a penultimate episode. Almost, maybe if they switched these two episodes around, that could have potentially been, and been the context of everyone before leading up, that could have been, I might have liked this episode better.
Okay, I understand. It's
I don't know how it would have worked, considering that in order to get to the context, you needed to destroy the universe, but
right.
Semantics, and I'll let the writers figure that out. But I
The
think,
writers will tell you that they did figure it out and you just don't get it. But
and that's very possible, but it's not, and I don't get it the way I didn't get Inception because I didn't like it. No, I just didn't really like the movie. It's not that I didn't understand it, I just didn't like it.
gotcha.
This one, I don't yet have the entire puzzle picture. I don't have all the pieces.
That makes
So
sense.
I will allow for a margin of error where next week, whatever we see next week in the season finale, this may very well become the holy shit, this episode was the keystone of the season. That is a very high possibility, but right now, with the context I have, it ain't.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I mean, again, what you're saying, everything you're saying makes sense. And we also, not we, but I did see that pretty much that same sentiment a lot um, online, as well as some other people that I talked to earlier. And I'm one of those weirdos that I don't really, as I'm going through a series, I don't really go through and try to pick out what's my favorite episode, my least favorite. Well, I like this one, or some elements of that one I like, and so forth. I try to take it in the whole totality, even though we do rank them at the end of how many Infinity Stones, how many realms, and so forth. Um, but I don't have that, you know, of these 5 episodes. I wouldn't go through and I wouldn't rank. Okay, 3 was my favorite, then 2, then 5, then I that just I can't do it.
And I see that, and it's definitely, I rank them week by week of, did I like it better than last week? Did I like 2 weeks ago better than this one? And I will do kind of almost like a mental tournament bracket in my head
I like it.
on that, where it's like, all right, episode 1, now episode 1 versus episode 2. Now the winner of that one, episode 3 versus the winner of 1 and 2. Then episode 4 versus the winner of, and so on and so forth. But then I will step back and look at the whole season, which I think is the ultimate thing that people aren't understanding. They're forming their opinions on an episodic view versus an entire anthology view.
Right. You got to have the whole picture in order to make a determination.
And you're rating the Harry Potter series off of chapter 4 of The Prisoner of Azkaban. And you can't do that. That's not how any of it works.
That's right.
So let's shut up and enjoy.
Imagine that.
He said to himself. Yeah, I mean, while this wasn't my favorite episode, it was still a good episode. I appreciated the character development we got for the non-Loki characters. We know Sylvie, we have a connection to Sylvie. We know Loki, we have a connection to Loki. We know that the variants were plucked from the timelines, but we didn't know anything about them. We got kind of hints with Mobius of, oh, I always want a jet ski. But we didn't have that background of the kids. And now we have maybe motivation of a willingness to join the TVA to protect his line.
Right.
So now we're starting to build to that emotional connection to the character. And I'm still impressed that they got me to like Owen Wilson this much.
What are you talking about? You didn't like Owen Wilson before?
It wasn't a dislike. It was oh yeah, he's in existence. I have nothing against him.
Wow.
Not he was a meme in my head.
That's true.
He was a meme. I had nothing against the guy. I don't know him personally. I'm working on that. I'm working through my network of people. Hashtag stay tuned. But I don't have the context of, like, I know him from Zoolander. I know him from a couple other movies. But it was still one of those, like, so you're having him play like an FBI, CIA kind of agent? And I watched Zoolander last week, and he's Hansel.
That's the beauty of acting.
Yeah, I mean, it's there are so many actors who are very much like, while they're not type actors, they are often typecasted.
That's true.
And I do appreciate, and I will give Marvel credit for this, they do a good job of pulling those typecast actors out of their type. From, I mean, I almost said Hela, but Kate Blanchett is just a goddess and can nail any role.
That's right.
Exactly. Like, wouldn't have expected Anthony Hopkins. You told me to cast Odin. Anthony Hopkins wouldn't have been on it. I didn't know Jeremy Renner before Hawkeye.
Things.
Sam Jackson would have been low on my list for Nick Fury, but I think he would have been
because
on
it. He was changed in the comic books or something.
Are you just trying to ask if it's because he was black?
No. No, he really what they really did.
You're trying to ask the white guy if it was because he was black.
Oh, see, now that's the funny thing, because when I was a kid, and I'm dating myself here, everyone. When I was a kid, Nick Fury was a white dude.
And that's what a lot of people knew Nick Fury as, like, right, the Aryan white guy.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't at all that. It was just I knew Nick Fury as like Mace Windu growing
Wow.
up. Like that was kind of our new Sam Jackson is like Mace Windu. Like that was kind of like what I that was my basis for him. So putting him from like the monk warrior to the espionage, like there would have been other people. I might have even leaned towards like one of the Bond actors
Okay. Yep.
because I had that like spy mentality. I know Daniel Craig can pull off the spy. I know Pierce Brosnan can pull off the spy. Like that's what I would have pulled from. If you told me to get a badass, yeah, Nick Fury or Sam Jackson absolutely would have been on that list for a casting of
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury.
100%.
Mark Ruffalo, that came out of left field, but he knocked it out of the park.
Right.
Fantastic Bruce Banner.
Right. What do you think would have happened if either one of the other Bruce Banners were still a part of it? Do you think it
Ban
would
or
have
Norton,
worked?
Eric Bana
Yeah. Yeah.
or Norton.
Right. Do you think it would have worked? Also, I think one of them is not canon. Isn't I think Bana's not really canon. Eric Bana's not canon.
Yeah. I think because we're talking 2012 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ed Norton could have done it, but I think it would have been a much different character. Hulk and Banner would have been a much different, a much more serious version
Right.
than what we got with introducing Mark Ruffalo to play off the ensemble cast and Tony Stark's sarcasm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been a good choice because there was a lot of sarcasm in the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. Oh, I got that reference. Or when did you become a master of nuclear thermodynamics, astrophysics? Oh, last night. Am I the only one that did the reading? Like, you would have had that almost gravity well to recenter the emotional stuff to deliver a stronger emotional impact,
Mm-hmm.
which I think could have almost shaped the rest of the MCU differently for especially when you look at Age of Ultron when Hulk F's off to the devil's butthole or whatever happened in Ragnarok.
Right.
And then coming back to Thanos kicking Hulk's ass, and then you have that whole dichotomy of Banner being like, "Come on, dude! Like, let's go. Now's the time. We need your help." And having that internal, we would have gotten, I think, a much more comic accurate kind of what was that comic line with Wolverine where it was like the family of Hulks where Wolverine and Hulk got into it like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Like
I,
I think we would have gone more down that route with the character, which I think would have been fantastic if we had Ed Norton.
I agree. But I think what we got and the way that it plays into the universe that we have is the perfect casting.
Yeah, I'm not by any means saying Mark Ruffalo was a bad casting. I think he was phenomenal. I think he did a great job. He got me to like the Hulk again. Like he reintroduced me to it, and I liked him from the start. From when um, Widow found him in hiding,
Great scene, by the way.
and he immediately picked up of like, "Oh, come on! I know why you're here. You know why you're here. You know I know why you're here." Like Let's stop bullshitting. Type of thing.
Yeah.
But hey, we might see Ed Norton again in the multiverse now that it's split open thanks to Loki and Sylvie. It's anything's possible.
Anything is possible now, and I love it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see where it goes in this next episode, this last episode. And
I'm excited for this. And next week's going to be a big week. And I think we definitely have to record at least one episode over lunch on Friday.
Oh, yeah. We're doing it.
At least one.
At least one.
At least one. So how many of 10 Loki variants, how many variants would you give this episode?
I give it a solid 8. Solid 8 Loki variants. And what about you?
With the context I have,
okay,
6.5 to 7.
Okay, very good.
If you ask me about this episode again next week, it will probably go up, but right now it is 6.5 variants to 7. Not ideal, but wasn't the most offensive thing I watched.
It's okay. It's okay. That's the good thing about experiencing these shows and getting different perspectives on it and different understandings. It's good to see that we have a little bit of a different opinion on things, and that's what makes it fun, that we can sit back and we can talk about it. But I tell you what, we both did
that we can what?
We both enjoyed it. And no, we shut the hell up.
We shut the hell up. But honestly, that's what I love about like this dynamic, is that we can disagree on our ratings, and it's not like, well, no, you're wrong because this is
you're
this.
wrong,
like,
sir.
No, I'm allowed to think what I want and believe that. Like,
I'm gonna get all my people to bully you off these interwebs.
Try it. Try it.
I love it.
But with that being said, what did all of you guys think? Did you enjoy the episode? Did you not? What do you think is going to happen next week? I want predictions for next week.
Drop them in the comments and let us know.
It is the season finale. Hit the like button, the bell to get notifications. Click the link in our description that we kind of have. I don't know. We're working on it. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. We are always curious to entertain other opinions. If you have different opinions than us, if you picked up on some of the subtleties of the episode that we didn't, let us know. Yeah. But otherwise, thank you very much for shutting up and enjoying this week's episode of Loki Season 2 with us. And we will catch y'all on the flip side.
Good night, everyone.
Gute Nacht.